The Syriac Orthodox Christians, known simply as Syriacs, is the ethno-religious community adhering to the West Syrian Rite Syriac Orthodox Church in the Middle East, numbering between 150,000 and 200,000 people according to estimations. The community formed and developed in the Near East in the Middle Ages. They speak Neo-Aramaic and Arabic. The traditional community of Syriac Orthodox Christians is Tur Abdin, regarded the homeland, in southeastern Turkey, from where many people fled the Ottoman government to organized genocide to Syria and Lebanon, and Mosul in northern Iraq. Significant diaspora communities exist in Western Europe and North America. The Syriac Orthodox community is regarded a subgroup of Syriac Christians, and thus may also be regarded that of the Assyrian people, although the latter identification is a matter of debate. Identity. There is an ongoing debate over the identification of the people, historically identified as Assyrians. The community tends to identify as Syrian, or Syriac, or Aramaean. They have also been called Jacobites, after Bishop Jacob Baradius of Edessa, and Monophysites. The identification as Assyrians means that they share identity with non-Orthodox Syriacs, while the Aramaean identity almost solely represents the Syriac Orthodox. The ethnic identification of Syriac Orthodox as Assyrians is contested by the community itself. In the diaspora, the Syriac Orthodox identify with the term Syriac. In Arabic and Kurdish, they were identified as Syriani, and in Turkish as Syrian. In Tur Abdin, the community does not consider converts to Protestantism and Catholicism as Syriac. Thus, in Tur Abdin the identification as Syriac only applies to the Syriac Orthodox, who share a collective identity and consciousness. In the 19th century, the various Syriac denominations did not view themselves as part of one group. The Syriac Orthodox community in the Ottoman Empire was for long not recognized as its own millet, but part of the Armenian millet. Then, during the Tanzimat reforms, the Syriac Orthodox were granted independent status with the recognition of their own millet in 1873. Late 19th and early 20th century Syriac Orthodox intellectuals predominantly used the Assyrian identification. Despite this Assyrian intellectual trend, the identity of Syriac Orthodoxy in the Ottoman Empire in the 1910s was principally religious and linguistic. A secular Assyrianism, as an ethnic category, was then reduced by creating a separate Aramaean or Syrian identity by the Syriac Orthodox Church. Overall, the Syriac Orthodox of Turkey, Syria and to a lesser degree Iraq today identify as Aramaean. The Syriac Orthodox community is currently divided over the common ancestry and name. Also outside the Middle East, riots and debates are recorded in Sweden among Syriacs from mainly southeastern Turkey, and in the Netherlands, where many Syriac Orthodox refugees have settled. The Syriac Orthodox identity was not only religious, although this was dominant, but also included cultural traditions of the pagan Assyrian and Aramaean kingdoms. Syriac Orthodox traditions crystallized into ethnogenesis through their invention of an own tradition of the stories and customs. The Syriac Orthodox being aware of the core identity already by the 12th century. History. Middle Ages. The 8th century hagiography life of Jacob evidence a definite social and religious differentiation between the Chalcedonians and Miaphysites. By the time of the longer hagiography on Jacob Baradius, he had become the hero of the Jacobite Syriac Orthodox Church. The followers eventually wore his name. The longer hagiography shows that the Syriac Orthodox self-identified with Jacob's story more than those of other saints. Coptic Patriarch Al-Mukafa of Miaphysite ancestry speaks of Jacobite origins. On the veneration of Jacob Baradius, he explained that the Chalcedonian Melkites were labeled as such because the Miaphysite Jacobites never traded their orthodoxy to win the favor of the king as the Melkites had done. It has been assumed that in the Principality of Antioch, the Syriac Orthodox made up the civilian population, their elite consisting of clergy. They did not participate in the military nor administration. It seems that in Antioch itself, after the 11th century persecutions, the Syriac Orthodox population was almost extinguished. Only one Jacobite church is attested in Antioch in the first half of the 12th century, while a second and third are attested in the second half of the century, perhaps due to refugee influx. Dorothea Weltek thus concludes that the Syriac Orthodox populace was very low in this period in Antioch and its surroundings. In Adna, on the other hand, an anonymous 1137 report speaks of the entire population consisting of Syriac Orthodox. In the 12th century, several Syriac Orthodox patriarchs visited Antioch and some established temporary residences. In the 13th century, the Syriac Orthodox hierarchy in Antioch was prepared to accept Latin supervision, however, for the whole church. This was of little consequence. The Syriac Orthodox were the most numerous non-Latin sect in Jerusalem and Bethlehem prior to 1187. 16th century. Moses of Mardan was a diplomat of the Syriac Orthodox Church in Rome in the 16th century. 17th century. By the early 1660s, 75% of the 5,000 Syriac Orthodox of Aleppo had converted to Catholicism following the arrival of friar missionaries. The Catholic missionaries had sought to place a Catholic patriarch among the Jacobites, and consecrated Andrew Kijan as the patriarch of the newly founded Syriac Catholic Church. The propaganda-fied and foreign diplomats pushed for Kijan to be recognized as the Jacobite Patriarch, and the Porte then consented, and warned the Syriac Orthodox that they would be considered an enemy if they did not recognize him. Despite the warning and gifts to priests, frequent conflicts and violent arguments continued between the Catholic and Orthodox Syriacs. 19th century. In the 19th century, the various Syriac denominations did not view themselves as part of one group. During the Tanzimat reforms, the Syriac Orthodox were granted independent status with the recognition of their own millet in 1873. The 1895–96 massacres in Turkey affected the Armenian and Syriac Orthodox communities. An estimated 105,000 Christians were killed. By the end of the 19th century, 200,000 Syriac Orthodox Christians remained in the Middle East, most concentrated around Deir el-Zafarim, the patriarchal seat. Diyarbakir province in 1870, there were 22 Syriac Orthodox settlements in the vicinity of Diyarbakir. In the 1870–71 Diyarbakir cell names, there were 1,434 Orthodox Syriacs in the city. In the 1881–82 census, the Khazar of Diyarbakir had 4,046 monophysites, while the Sankak of Diyarbakir had 5,909 Syriac Orthodox. The results of these records shows that the Syriac Orthodox were rural as opposed to the Catholics, who were less but more urbanized. The 1894–95 cell name of Diyarbakir records 4,096 Syriac Orthodox in the Khazar. In the 1897–98 cell well named the Vilayet of Diyarbakir had 20,082 Syriac Orthodox, out of 84,906 non-Muslims. 20th century genocide. The Ottoman authorities looted, killed and deported Orthodox Syriacs. In 1915–16, the number of Orthodox Syriacs in the Diyarbakir province was reduced by 72%, in the Mardan province by 58%. Interwar period. In 1924, the seat of the Syriac Orthodox Church was transferred to Homs in Syria. This happened after Kemal Ataturk expelled the Syriac Orthodox Patriarch, who took the library of Deir el-Zafaran and settled in Damascus. The Syriac Orthodox villages in Tur Abdin suffered from the 1925–26 Kurdish rebellions, massive flight to Lebanon, northern Iraq and especially Syria ensued. 1945 present. In 1959, the seat of the Syriac Orthodox Church was transferred to Damascus in Syria. In the mid-1970s, it was estimated that 82,000 Syriac Orthodox lived in Syria. In 1977, the number of Syriac Orthodox followers in diaspora dioceses were 9,700 in the Diocese of Middle Europe, 10,750 in the Diocese of Sweden and surrounding countries. By 1990, there were 4,000 Syriac Orthodox in Tur Abdin. After the Turkish PKK ceasefire in 1999, conditions to Christians in Turkey have improved. Population estimations of the total number of Syriac Orthodox Christians in the Middle East include 150–200,000 and 146,300. In the diaspora, there are significant communities in Western Europe and North America, most notably in Sweden, Germany and the United States. A Syriac migration wave out of Turkey was prompted by the Turkey-PKK conflict. Syriac Orthodox refugees from Syria and Iraq has recently increased the number of Syriacs in Turkey and the diaspora. Turkey. The Tur Abdin region is a traditional stronghold of Orthodox Syriacs. The community identifies as Sur-Yo-Yo, historically as Shuro-Yo-Shuroi. The identity characteristics defining the Tur Abdin Syriacs is the Neo-Aramaic language and the Syriac Orthodox Church, and the religious identity correlates to an ethnic identity. Intermarriage between Syriacs and other Christian groups is very rare. It is estimated that there are 15–20,000 Syriac Orthodox in Turkey. 2,400 still live in Tur Abdin. The community speaks Syriac in Tur Abdin, and Arabic due to historical reasons, in Mardan, Syria. The Syriac Orthodox is one of 8 Christian denominations in the country. The community of Syriac Orthodox are concentrated in Hasek and Karmashli in the Jazira region of Syria. It originated from the 1915 massacres, when many people fled Turkey. In the mid-1970s it was estimated that 82,000 Syriac Orthodox lived in the country. The community has been Arabized. Syriac Orthodox settlements include Al-Karmashli, Faraza, Al-Hafa, Kafram, Maskana, Al-Karyatain, Saddad and Zaidal. The community increased with an influx of Iraqi refugees after the 2003 invasion. The shelling of Homs in 2012 affected the city, which was until then home to a large Christian community. Iraq. An estimated 15–20,000 Syriac Orthodox Christians lived in northern Iraq in 1991. Lebanon. Syriac Orthodox Christians are one of several Christian minority groups in Lebanon. A Jacobite community settled in Lebanon among the Maronites after Mongol invasions in the late Middle Ages. However, this community was either dispersed or absorbed by the Maronites. A Semani noted that many Maronite families were of Jacobite origin. A Jacobite community was present in Tripoli in the 17th century. In 1944 it was estimated that 3,753 Syriac Orthodox lived in Lebanon. As of 1987 there were only a few thousand Syriac Orthodox in Lebanon. Diaspora Sweden 30–40,000, 18,000 live in Södertälje. Germany 37,000, 55,000. Netherlands concentrated in Enschede and Hengelo. In the late 1970s Syriac Orthodox formed the majority of Christian Turk asylum seekers. United States 50,000. The Syriac Orthodox in New Jersey identify as Aramaeans. Australia 3–5,000. Language. The Syriac language, of the Semitic Aramaic family, is the literary language of the Syriac Orthodox Church. In Tur Abdin, Turoyo is the Neo-Aramaic dialect spoken by the Syriac Orthodox community. The Jacobites adopted Arabic early on. Arabic had become the dominant language of Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Egypt by the 11th century. Syriac Orthodox clergy wrote in Arabic using Garsuni, a Syriac script, as early as the 15th century. They only later adopted the Arabic script. An English missionary in the 1840s noted that the Arabic speech of the Syriacs was intermixed with Syriac vocabulary. They chose Arabic and Muslim-sounding names, while women had biblical names. The community speaks Arabic and Neo-Aramaic in Arabic countries, and Turkish Arabic and Neo-Aramaic in Turkey. Culture. Television Sur Sat Syriac Diaspora. Shuruyo TV, Syriac Diaspora. Organizations. World Council of Aramaeans, formerly Syriac Universal Alliance, Aramaean Identity Umbrella Organization, Aramaean Democratic Organization, Aramaean Identity Political Party in Lebanon aiming to gather Syriac Christians. Notable people: Thebuniya Akyol, Turkish politician and co-mayor of Mardan. Diaspora Ninos Aho, Syrian American poet, Assyrian identity. Ibrahim Baylin, Swedish politician, Syriac identity, born and raised India. Salih, Tur Abdin, Turkey. Abgar Bassam, Swedish former footballer, Syriac Aramaean identity. Jimmy Durmaz, Swedish footballer, Syriac identity, father from Mesut in Turkey. David Durmaz, Swedish footballer, Syriac identity, family from southeastern Turkey. Yilmaz Karimo, Swedish politician, Assyrian Syriac identity, born in Turkey. Kennedy Bakashoglu, Swedish footballer, Assyrian identity, family arrived in 1972 from Midyat. Sharbel Tuma, Swedish footballer, Aramaean identity, born in Lebanon. Sarah Egard, German singer. Gallery.